Hi,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Are you?
Yeah, I'm very good.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
very
still
good.
at the house because there's a lot going on at the house, and I need to be present at the house.
What room
For
are you in? What room is that?
um, this is my kitchen diner, and that is going to be a different room. So
It's
there's going to be a
pretty
door
amazing.
there. There's going to be a door there eventually.
Looks pretty incredible.
It is. It is honestly. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's been sheer hell on earth, but I'm praying that by the end of it, we're going to sit and be like, you know what, it's actually all right. Like, we're literally, like, I'll show you now, like, literally the building's like, it's like, that's, like, there's the diggers outside, and then that's the kitchen that was downstairs.
That's so funny because that's like I remember like what it was before. That's
My
just
old kitchen, yeah, like my old kitchen brought up here just to like we'd like living like round it, and like not that people probably don't care, but I'm going to say it anyway. They're going to start on the upstairs soon, and I've just said to Ian, right, to speed it up because it's all well and good living in it, but it's like it's going on quite a while now. Like we're talking like March last year it started.
yeah.
So like nearly a year. I said, right, if it's going to speed it up, as long as the downstairs toilet's fixed and in, me, Keo, and the kids, I'll bring all our mattresses down here and we'll sleep in the front room all together like a sleepover club. And we'll just live downstairs like a bungalow for till you're done upstairs. And he was like, would you be willing to do that? I was like, yes, because either way, if you're doing one bedroom, we're all going to have to be in two of the other bedrooms. And if you do that, like it's working round. So I was like, just rip the plaster off. We'll sleep downstairs. It is what it is. It's chaos anyway. We may as well shot in a bloody sleepover in the front room as well. So it's been eventful, but we're very, very lucky, and it's going to be amazing when it's done. But it's been hard work, like. But,
yeah. So on this one, this week we're going to be talking about a lot of productivity. Is what you wanted to talk about: workload, managing workload, and how you kind of do it. So
yeah, well, one thing is only, it might be, I don't know, when you think that things are just like little things, but then know that you speak to other people and they don't do it, and you think it might help other people. So it might help you, might not. But one thing I learned at a previous job that I find so useful now, that I use every single day, and I'm literally drumming into Millie, like Millie will roll her eyes if she watches this. If it isn't written, it isn't going to happen. And I said that last week about the like goals. It's the same thing for when you're doing things. So my brain can hold a lot. I'm quite good at remembering that things I need to do. Like I can multitask a lot of things that I know I need. But you will always forget something, and you will always not get round to doing something. And then some people can only do one or two, like Keo, Jesus Christ, I can take Keo. Like, you need to message so-and-so. Yeah, well, have you done that? 2 days later, no, I forgot. How did you forget? You said you were going to do it there. Like, I'm one of those people. If you said to me, Cara, have you text Keo? I'd go, yeah, and I'd literally do it there and then. Like,
I'll only do it. I'm like that because I'm like Keo as well. So I'm like, if you asked me, I used to be like Keo, so I would be like, yeah, and then I won't do it.
Yeah.
And so if I don't do it there and then, I won't do it. I won't remember. I can't remember like down the like down the road. I will forget entirely. And it's only when the bins is always that. Someone in the bin, they're like, you put the bins out? Yeah, I put the bins out. I'll go and walk the dog. 2 hours later, come back. We make it in the morning, the bins. Shit, the bins are here. Oh, you thought you said you're going to put it out?
That's literally Keo, and I'm like trying so hard to keep it right, to come on.
Are you like someone who'd be like, you just do it all the time, like you're consistent?
Everything I do, I do instantly. So if you ask me to do something, it get 9 times out of 10 it gets done there and then. Like, especially to do with work, like normal life stuff, not so much, but work. If you ask me to do something, I will literally be doing it as you'd ask me to do it, because then I know it's done. But sometimes that's not always achievable, because when it's just me and you talking, it's easy because it's just me and you. But when you're on the phone to someone,
my time doesn't matter, that's what you said.
No, what I mean is, if it's just me and you, this asshole, right? If it's just me and you, I mean that, like, you asking me to do something, I'll go, all right, okay, and I'll do it there and then.
Yeah, it reminds me of like when I asked you to check about my diabetes, and then you were like freaking out on the I remember you doing that,
and then I was like,
I was like, My dad has diabetes. If I cover, and I've definitely covered because you wouldn't have insured me otherwise. And you're like this, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then you're like, oh, well, I don't know if you know. I've just been checking. Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, I have to do it. So that's what literally, that's how I try and work everything. So, but not everyone's like that. And as well, sometimes you can't do that because you're on the phone to someone, you're in the mid, then you've got like WhatsApps or emails. So what I do, and I'm telling Millie to do it, is I've got a pad next to me all the time, and I start the day with to do. And every single time I've got something to do, whether it's something I sit down in the morning when I first start and write, right, what do I have to do today? And I'll literally write out everything I've got to do that day. Then say, for example, I'm on the phone and someone messages me, even though that message is there and I haven't read it, I'll still put on the thing, right, call Mrs. Smith back. Then if I get an email through that I haven't opened, but I know I need to do it, I put it on, answer email from so-and-so. And literally by the end of the day, I have, say, a list like this of things to do. And it looks like some people might find that overwhelming and look at it and think that's a lot, like it sort of makes it look scary than what it is. But I find it very, one, it's very gratifying, and two, it means that I know that's my accountability and my ownership that I have done those things. Because leaving an email unread doesn't mean it's done. Or leaving a WhatsApp unanswered doesn't mean that client's being dealt with. Whereas if I've wrote it down and then once every single time I've done that job, I'll highlight it. And then if by the end of the day, whatever is unhighlighted gets put on, I literally turn the page and then I'll put the new date and I'll carry that forward from the next day, like from the previous day. And then I'll start, they're the priority then. Because if I haven't managed to do them the day before, then things are the priority before I start the new list for the day.
Where did you learn that?
So I learned it at Howden's. My old manager used to do it. And it
sounds like a very salesy. It sounds like, it reminds me of to be fair, I used to do that and I haven't done it for a long time. But an old estate agent taught me that, who was a sales guy. It's like an old school sales thing. It's very like 80s in that kind of write it down, transfer to the planner, daily planner type stuff.
Yeah.
Very good.
It like, honestly,
he did it religiously. He'd done it for like 40 years and everyone knew him, and he was known in the area as the guy that gets stuff done, which is like, and he used to say, he's called his Bible. He'd be like, he said, if I don't have this, we won't get done. And I was like, wow. So I haven't heard anyone say it until you were saying that. I was thinking, this is literally what Tony used to do all the time. So I knew it'd be an old school sales.
He was a sales manager, but he did get shit done. Like, he really did get shit done. And like I say, I'm one of those people who does things instantly, but it doesn't mean that you're going to remember everything. Like, even sometimes things like what I sometimes put on there is, say something comes to my head that I know I'm not going to get done that day because it's a bigger deal than what, like, I've got time to do. I'll put it on, and then I'll continue to put it on day after day after day until it gets done, because otherwise your ideas get lost. So say I've got an idea for some content or something that I think might benefit the business, but I know realistically that's going to take a few days to implement or to like change. I still put it down, because if I don't put it down, where's it gone? Like, where is it? And at the end of every year, say I go through 3 notepads, I will go through my notepads and like look through again and be like, right, is there anything? And honestly, the amount of things that spur back into your head, because you've literally got your year written in front of you of what you've done, what you started out doing. You remember it is really.
You talk about that. So like the guy that I work with, this is how far he would take it. So he used to buy, he was like old school 70s, 80s kind of estate agent. And he would buy you could pay quite a lot of money to get these diaries that he used, the annual diary, use like a diary that you flip through, they go down, that'd be it. But he would get them 5 years in advance. So he'd get them ordered from this company. He would do them 5 years in advance. And he had them in his desk. And so because it's a state agency and valuations, he'd say, like remortgages, they're going to have remortgage. You knew they need a remortgage valuation. So he'd say to them, yeah, no worries. So I'll call you in 5 months' time. I'll call you in 3 years' time. And then he would go into the books and he would get the date and he would do the date. So 3 years to the day that he was today, he would add it. And he'd always have 5 years diaries. He'd always buy so everyone he's buying, he was always buying 5 years from now, was mind blowing. And it was that when you think about that system that you're doing there, he'd be calling people, go, yeah, we spoke, remember 3 years ago, and I said I was going to call you. Well, I'm going to call you. And then and he'd done this for like 4 years. So you see it in working practice, you're like, wow. And that's the type of thing, as you say, it's this looking back and going, oh, wait a minute, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it like 6 months' time, we'll follow up. Madness. All these old school things.
I do believe in that my calendar and stuff like that, I run it through my Google Calendar on my phone. Yeah. So like, say, for example, I've got someone who's up for remortgage or someone who needs something updated, I don't care how far in advance it is, I just literally make a diary entry in my Google Calendar.
Oh, at the top bit saying call this person.
No, like you can literally on Google Calendar, like this is what I do. So like obviously, I don't know if you can see, but if you press like this, you can literally an event.
Yeah, so that's what I do on mine.
Yeah, change that to like 2025, put it in and say call Mr. whatever.
Yeah, so you can do it on the all day events. That's like, really good.
Or when people go, it's like for me, like when people go, oh yeah, I'll ring them. If you haven't put it somewhere, how do you know you're going to ring them? How are you going to do it? Like, and I say like, and she won't mind me saying this, but saying like Millie's outstanding at everything she does, but she makes mistakes. Like everyone.
We all do, yeah.
And whenever she's made a mistake, I'll say, was it written down? And if it isn't written down, it's not going to happen. It's always been that it hasn't been written down. And like, that's for me, I can handle people making mistakes and I can handle me making, everyone does it. But when it's something that could be so easily fixed by every single thing that you need to do, you put down on a piece of paper so that you know that you can't forget about it because it's there. And then if it still doesn't get done, then yeah, it's your own fault done. Like, but if it's you won't.
So someone who does this, quite famous, well, he's very famous, but isn't like super famous, but he's not famously known, but I saw it on a podcast, was Matthew McConaughey. So Matthew McConaughey talked about this on, I think he was on Joe Rogan, and he did release his book, and he says he's a list. He said, like, why are you so like proactive and stuff? And he said, I list everything. And he said, like, if it needs to be done, he laughed on the thing. He was like, I even write. He said, I said I don't. He said, but it's like no far as like I need to have a poo. I did a poo. He was like, it was ridiculous. He said, but I list everything. He said, and I've always done it. He said, and because of that, he said, one, you never miss anything, and two, he said, you always have this sense. He said, you end the day with a sense of achievement. He said, and even though you look at your list and go, wow, look how much I did today. Even though he said it might be little, but those little wins.
So gratifying, though. So gratifying. And then sometimes as well, like I don't do it so much now because I've got a better balance. But probably say about a year ago, let's for argument's sake, if say for example you work on Monday to Friday, right, and you feel as if that the day runs away with you, or you get sidetracked, or you might end up like, say, I don't know, like sometimes I've been guilty for you put content on and then you end up getting lost in scrolling and looking at other content ideas. Like, so what I found really useful to do, and it worked, it gets you into a good habit, is I'd start my week on the Sunday or on the Saturday, whichever day was less busier for me with the kids. And I'd be like, right, Monday, 9 till 10, what are you doing? 10 and 11. Can you remember when me and you did? I think it was me we were on about the calendar when we set
up your calendar,
and you were like, you need to own your hours.
That's how I did my diary, is like that.
Yeah, if you own each hour of the day, then you can't not be productive. Because if I'm saying between 9 and 10, that's the time when I'm going to go on LinkedIn and do my comments and do my connections, then it'll get done. 10 to 11, that's when I'm going to chase up all my emails from the day before. 11 to 12, that's when I'm going to ring the clients from last week that never got back to me. If you have it written out like that, set out day by day, hour by hour, I'm not saying there's no chance, but there's a hell of a lot less chance that you are going to be sidetracked or unproductive because you're planning. That's it. Fail to plan to fail. Is that right?
Yeah. If you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like where I think little things like that, like it's not a big deal. It's a bit of a annoying little habit at the beginning when you don't have it. Like, I know that Millie rolls her eyes and thinks, oh my God, like I've put it in my phone, or like I'll remember, or I'll write it somewhere. And I'm like, no, pad, paper in front of you, write it out all together so you can see
highlighter. You need a highlighter as well to do it.
Highlight it.
Because I used to say, I remember doing the lines, and my boss like, no, don't do the lines, do the highlighter, because you can read that you've done it and you can see it.
All nice.
It is like it's just about building habits. You say that mine is my outlook is my like everything runs through my outlook, and I'm a big believer. And this taught you to do that thing, which is I'm a big diary blocker, time blocker. Like that's and my life before that was chaotic. Like I was, like I said, the guy with the bins. Like I would be that. Now though, like everything I do is I wake up at 6:30 till 7:30 I go to the gym. 7:30 till 8:30 I play with my son. Like it literally is like it's in there. And so and and if you wasn't in there, then it's like 8:30 till 9:30 I make content. 9:30 till 10:30 I usually just watch TV. If I'm honest with you, like it's like a relax, and then 10:30 work clients. And what's so funny is you're very productive when you do that type of stuff, because then
like
you end of the day, you know,
there's not enough hours, and you're like,
no.
I seen a thing the other day, and it said, there's 24 hours in a day. So even if you sleep 8 hours a day, that's still 16 hours a day for you to beat, for you to do everything you need to do. It's not that there's not enough hours in the day. It's how you're using your time. That's a problem.
And that is the thing, you know, like, so that was when I did mine. Like I have this thing with mine. The very specific is by 11 o'clock, I see my first client. I don't check my emails. I don't reply to clients until 11 o'clock. And that's why everything before 11 o'clock is all about me and making sure that I've done everything I can. It goes back to what we were saying in your previous episode of this, like last week's, of this idea of what is the minimum standard. If I've done my minimum level of accountability for me by 11 o'clock, everything else is just gravy. There's just bonuses after that. And I can be fully present for clients. But that isn't just by motivation. It's actually by determination and productivity. It's by discipline, isn't it? It's not, you don't wake up fired up. There's days. Today I went to the gym this morning and it was like, shoot me in the head, please, because I'm so don't want to go. But it's part of it, and it's a domino effect. And it's, as you said, it's like Millie rolling her eyes. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But if you don't do it, the alternative is a life of complete chaos, really.
Yeah, and chaos can be managed for a while. Like I did it. Like you can control chaos for a short time, and then it blows. Like I ran on doing everything and anything at that moment, and it literally, I nearly lost the plot, because there was, where'd you stop? Where's the line that you stop at? Because if I don't switch off, and that's what was really good for me when like you start to be accountable for your diary and accountable for your time. It's like, right, okay, well, I'm not working past 6. Stop. Yeah. I'm stopping. That's it. Stop now. Rather than when you don't have that and you don't have that structure, even if I feel like you end up being a busy fool. That's what it feels like to me. Like when you haven't got your like time set out of, this is what I'm doing at this time, this is what I'm doing at that time, you can end the day and be like, what have I actually done today? What have I actually achieved today? Whereas if you've got that set out and you can see in front of you that I don't know exactly what I've done today, because I can see it in black and white, and you feel so much better, and you'd be more productive, and there's not as much chaos. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an idiot. There's always going to be things that are going to pop up and change it and keep your life chaotic. But a small amount of chaos is a lot better than the whole entire life being run by chaos.
Oh, no. And I think that is really, I think, the secret to many people's success is actually, like, you know, like someone like you, me, like I get asked quite a lot when I'm on podcasts, like, how do you do what you do? And I'm like, honestly, it's just repetitive tasks. That's it. It's not like some sort of gift and talent. It's just doing the things you can do, but really repetitive stuff. It's if you can diarize something in and say you're going to do it, if you do something a lot, you'll get good at it. And if you do the right, like the client, reply to the clients a lot, you'll get to the point where it just becomes normal. It becomes like you wouldn't not respond to that client. So it's definitely like anyone can do it. It just is a bit uncomfortable for the first maybe 30 to 60 days.
It's horrible, but once you get into it, it's miles better, because then you know exactly where you're at, and you start to have a level of, like, your standard raises because you're doing more, and you'll get better. And it's something I would encourage anyone to do, especially if you're just starting out, or if you have been, when you're really busy, or if you're really quiet, 'cause it works the same way. If you're really quiet, it's very, very easy to get sidetracked with nothing brings nothing. Whereas if you are quiet and you fill your time up with, even if it's just, I'm going to listen to this motivational book for an hour, or I'm going to watch this motivational film, or I'm going to sit and look at other people's content ideas. Even if you're not, like, you get that all the time where people are like, yeah, but I'm not busy. I'm like, right, well, what are you busy doing? Nothing. Like, what's your nothing filled with? Because if your non-busy is filled with nothing, then you're going to keep getting nothing. You need to, what's that saying about the harder you work, the luckier you get. Like, the busier you are being productive and positive and trying to get somewhere further forward is a lot better than being sat there being like, oh, well, I'm not busy, so there's nothing I can do. Well, make something to do then. Have you done this? Have you done that? What have you actually used your time doing? Because one thing I can't stand is wasting time and being a busy fool. And I'm so guilty for being a busy fool for so long. Like, and this, like the writing it down and the having structure to my diary really helped me to get a clear view of what am I doing every day. And it helps you speed up in terms of like, right, I'm expecting in my head that it's going to take me an hour to speak to clients. Actually, really, in reality, I need 2 hours to speak to clients. I only need half an hour to do my Facebook messages. Do you know, like, it gives you a better, you can
handle on what it is, and what's working, and then you can, keep doing the things that work and remove the things that don't. So it's quite clever. Any parting words on this episode before we run it out?
The little things always make a difference, and these little things will help and contribute towards bigger things. So trying to do the little things right will make you do the big things better.
Love it.